All right, we just did 10 Quizzizz problems. We're going to do those 10 together, okay? See if we can't continue to work on getting better at this factoring. Let's go to work. So before I get into factoring these, let's go through some reminders. Right there. It's right there. Reminders about what it is that we do with this process when it comes to factoring. First question we ask ourselves is there a GCF? Greatest common factor. That's the first thing we should do. Then I ask you to decide whether there is a leading coefficient. And it's the answer to that question that determines which way we go. If it's no, we split in signs. And then we'll list the factors of constant. Okay? But if it's yes, we'll use the box method. Now, here's the reality. We could go straight to the box method every time if we really wanted to. And if that's something you want to do because you like it, feel free to do so. But I'm going to stick with the split in signs just because I think it's a little bit quicker. It's not really. We're doing the exact same process, but anyhow. So let's jump in. Number one, x squared plus 16x plus 15. Is there a GCF? No. Hey, reminder, if there's no leading coefficient, there's not going to be a GCF, right? Next question, is there a leading coefficient? No. So split in signs. Split in signs means set two sets of parentheses, put a variable in each, in this case an x in each. Then I look at my signs. My last sign tells me whether it's going to be the same or opposite. Well, if it's a plus sign, it'll be the same signs. If it's a minus sign, they'll be opposite signs. Well, that's a plus, so I know they're going to be the same. Then I look at the middle term, determine whether it's going to be both positive or both negative. In this case, both positive. Now I list the factors of 15. 1 and 15, 3 and 5. Which of those come together with the same sign to get me a 16? 1 and 15. So I put those in those two empty slots. Booyah. Factored. Now, if you just happen to be watching this video at home and not here in class, I challenge you for each one of these questions to pause the video, try the problem yourself, and then watch it get done. So let's go on to number 2. X squared minus 10x plus 24. So, is there a GCF? No. Is there a leading coefficient? No. So split in signs. Two sets of parentheses, put an x in each. This tells me they're going to be the same, and they're both going to be negative. Factors of 24. 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. Which of those come together to get me a 10? 4 and 6. The larger number gets the sign for the middle. Well, it doesn't really matter here because they're both negatives, right? So a negative 6 and a negative 4. Factored. Boom. This problem's not so bad if you study just a little. Number 3. Ding, 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 ding. Anybody see anything special about number 3 as we begin it? There's no junk. Good. There's no junk. Somebody, something else should be jumping off the page at you. What are those two numbers? Why, they're perfect squares, Coach Herman. Of course they are. Those are two perfect squares separated by a minus sign. What's that called? DOS. All the students got to get it. You better recognize when I spit it, right? The difference of squares. Remember, we like this one. This is the easy one. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? What's the square root of 25? 5. plus, what's the square root of 9? 5x plus 3, 5x minus 3. That's like cheating. I mean, it's so easy, it's cheating. Yes? Oh, I forgot about that. You want to remember that one. Now, I could have used the same process. I would like to do this one again. Because if you didn't remember that those were perfect squares, okay, we can still do the same process. Watch this, 25x squared. It is missing junk, so how about I put in plus 0x minus 9? Is that the same problem? Yes, it is. But I had to put in the junk, or the linear term. So now I'm thinking to myself, hey, box method, right? 25x squared minus 9. Now what? Multiply. 9 times 25 is 225. Now I got to list all the factors of 225, but I'm going to skip down here. I hope you're okay with this. 1 times 225, and there's a whole bunch of them, and then 15 times 15. 15 squared is 225, right? So which of those come together to get me a 0 with opposite signs? 15s. One's got to be positive, one's got to be negative. So negative 15x, positive 15x. Now factor out. It's the largest number it comes out going across. 5x, 3, up and down, 5x, negative 3. Hey, so my solution is, 5x plus 3, 5x minus 3. So if you didn't know that those were perfect squares, you could still go through the same process and get the same answer. But boy, that sure was a lot easier if we recognize that's the difference of squares. Yes? All right. Number 4. Is there a GCF? No. Is there a leading coefficient? Yes. So box. Put the first term in upper left, 4x squared. I put the last term in the lower right, minus 9. Multiply those two together. Negative 9 times 4 is a negative 36. Factors of 36. 1 and 36. 2 and 18. 3 and 12. 4 and 9. 6 and 6. Which of those come together to get me a 16 with opposite signs, right? Opposite signs. Yes. 2 and 18. Larger number gets the sign from the middle, so the 18 has to be negative. So negative 18. Remember, we put an x with it, and then 2x. Everybody okay with how I filled out my box? Any questions at this point? All right, so now I've got to factor out. What's the largest factor, greatest common factor between 4 and 18? 2, and an x comes out. Good. Between 2x and negative 9? Just a 1, right? What is the greatest common factor of 4x and 2x? 2x. What is the greatest common factor of negative 18 and negative 9? Negative 9. So my solution is 2x plus 1 times 2x minus 9. Now, how would I go about checking to make sure I'm right? Yes, I would FOIL it back out. Okay. I'm not going to. We're going to move on to the next question, but that's what I would do. Correct? Correct. Good. Number 5. Is there a GCF? No, 17 is prime. Is there a leading coefficient? Yes. So what do? Box method. Box method. So I draw my little box. First term in the upper left, 3x squared. Last term in the bottom right, 10. 3 times 10 is 30. Factors of 30. 1 and 30. 2 and 15. 3 and 10. 4 does not. 5 and 6. Which of those comes together with the same signs to get me a 17? 2 and 15. And they both got to be negative. So a -2 and a -15. Those go in the other two boxes. It doesn't matter which one goes where. So -2x, -15x. Now, I factor out. Greatest common factor, x. Greatest common factor, -5. Up and down, greatest common factor, 3x. Greatest common factor, -2. Solutions then is 3x minus 2 times x minus 5. Questions? Number 6. Ding, 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 ding. What's jumping off the page at you? Perfect squares. 164 separated by a minus sign. Hey, hey, hey. That's difference of squares. 10x plus 8. 10x minus 8. Remember how we studied that list of perfect squares and I told you it was going to come back? Here it is. If you don't recognize those as perfect squares, that can be difficult. If you do, that's really easy. Number 7, is there a GCF? Go ahead, question?
How do you square the 64? Because I know that you basically get a square root of 100 because it's squared, but the 64 is squared, so how do you get the square root?
64 is 8 squared.
Right, I realize that, but 64 is squared.
Okay, let me rewrite this one, if I may. Question is, 64 is not squared. Well, the 100's not squared either. The x is. But I could rewrite this like this. Could this be 10 squared times x squared minus 8 squared? Oops, that's a square, not a 6. Is that the same thing?
Yeah.
So what's the square root of this side? What's the square root of this side? Well, square root of 100 is 10. The square root of x squared is x, right? What's the square root of 8? Or excuse me, the square root of 8 squared is 8. So if I put them together with a plus and a minus, those two middle terms will cancel. Okay? I don't know. By the look on your face, I don't think you're happy about that, but I think you'll accept it. It'll work for now. Okay. On to number 7. Is there a GCF? No. Is there a leading coefficient? No. Split in signs. Put an x in each. Opposite. So a plus and a minus. Factors of 40. 1 and 40. 2 and 20. 3 does not go in. 4 and 10. 5 and 8. Which one of those come together with opposite signs to get a 3? 5 and 8. Larger number gets a sign from the middle. So 5 goes here. 8 goes there. Hey, while we're here, what are the solutions to this quadratic then? -8 and a +5. Remember, it's the opposite. What can I put in for that x to make that set of parentheses equal to 0? Good. Moving on. Number 8. Is there a GCF? No. Is there a leading coefficient? No. Split in signs. X in each. Signs are opposite, so a plus and a minus. Factors of 48. 1 and 48. 2 and 24. 3 and 16. 4 and 12. 5 does not. 6 and 8. Which of those come together with opposite signs to get me an 8? 4 and 12. Larger number gets a sign from the middle, so 12 has to be negative. 4's got to be positive. How you feeling about this? Good? Better? Bad? I got a lot of thumbs ups. Ding, 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 ding. What's number 9? Difference of squares. X plus 9. X minus 9. Number 10. Is there a GCF? Yes, I can pull a 5 out of all that. So 5 times x squared plus 4x plus 4. Now, if I just look inside, is there a GCF? No. Is there a leading coefficient? No. That 5's got to stay out here, but I'm going to split in signs. Put an X in each. Signs are the same, both positive. Factors of 4. 1 and 4, 2 and 2, which come together to get me a 4, 2 and 2. That was the 10 questions that we just did on Quizzizz. Good practice for you. Now you see the mistakes that you may or may not have made. Questions, comments, concerns?